Today, we're talking about my 2003 Jeep Grand Cherokee. Now, this is a limited trim with a 4.7 stock solid axles front and rear with stock limited slip front and rear. And this is the WJ generations from 1999 to 2004, the best Grand Cherokee that they've ever made. I'm going to tell you why and show you this extensive build. So to start off, first thing I get asked all the time, what size tires are you running and what axles do you have? Now these are 37-inch Cooper STT Pros. I've really enjoyed them so far. I've had them for at least 2 years now. On the road, off the road, they are quite noisy. I will say I have slacked on rotating. I don't think I ever have rotated. So it definitely has some cupping. That's probably why they're loud on the road. I'm sure they'd be great if you rotated them. Next up, the axles. These are factory axles. I know. Hold your breath. I've had them for a very long time, since I've had the Jeep. I rebuilt the diff originally when I got the Jeep. It was making a lot of noise. I can't remember exactly what was going on with it. If it was some bearings or it was something with the gears. So I got a new gear set for it, a stock 373 gear, and swapped that in right when I got the Jeep. I was stock form, completely stock, everything. And that was probably 6 or 7 years ago. So these are still the stock axles. It's Dana 30 up front and a 44, I believe, in the back. I wheeled it with 32s on a level kit starting off whenever I did my first version of the Jeep build. And then we went ahead and added the Iron Rock off-road 4-link system. So we have long arms front and rear with the 6.5-inch coils was the next build. And I went up to 35s, ran these same axles just as they are. We went to Lake Powell, which I'm here in Arkansas, so Lake Powell, Grand Canyon, Zion, that's all very, very far away. I would say don't drive 20 plus hours in a 20 plus year old vehicle, but we had some good times. Drove it out there with 35s, the Toyos actually, Toyo MTs, which are heavier than these, I believe, which not these spec, but in 35s. Toyos are a really heavy tire. I love the look of them, so I ran those for a while. Took those on road trips, took them off-road. No problems with the axles. I keep having wheel bearings fail maybe once every couple years. I just replaced one recently on the driver's side. That's an easy fix compared to an axle. And then for the last 2 years, I've been running these 37-inch Coopers. And we went to Colorado where we broke down, and we broke down because of the transmission. I'll tell you more about that later. But I've been running these tires now. I don't do floor it, rock bouncing. I'm not like beating on it crazy. This did go through a tornado recently this last year, so it's a little more beat than it was. So I'm not carrying quite as much. It's almost like my ZJ now, just let's have some fun with it and not care as much. It used to be a little bit nicer. We got rock rash and shingle rash from wind blowing it all over, dents randomly. Still cleans up pretty good. But so yeah, stock axles, haven't had any problem. My main thing is I've got the V8, which gives you plenty of power. I tow a trailer with this multiple times a week. I've never re-geared either. So these are 3.7 gears on 37s. Which a lot of people don't understand how I can do that. But with the V8, at 70, which it easily runs 70, I usually run 80. At 70, you're at like 1,500 RPMs. So you're just cruising. And you turn overdrive off if it's a windy day. Won't be shifting, trying to find the gear that it needs. Same with pulling a trailer or going uphill. Really big hill, you can put it overdrive off, and then you won't have that problem of it trying to get an overdrive. That actually was my problem in Colorado when I broke it, was I didn't do that. We were climbing the passes at like 80, fully loaded from a full trip, and it was searching for that overdrive, and it definitely didn't find it. So my style with this Jeep, and what I like to do, and especially with stock axles, but what I like to do is we do the Forest Service roads here in the Ozarks, which is the most beautiful area over here anywhere close. and there's just hundreds of miles of free off-roading campsites. There's a couple technical obstacles, not really for this thing, more of like if you're in an IFS, you know, Toyota Tacoma, and you don't have lockers and you're on 33s. This on 37s with stock axles, 4-low, I can go anywhere I want. We are in 8-inch coils now, so we've got a little bit more lift. I recently put those in for this last trip. So what I do is I put in 4-low. We've got plenty of gear with the 3.7 gears and the 37s. The V8 sounds amazing and it powers through. Definitely got to get the V8. I mean, listen to this thing. All right, so we got that out of the way. Like I said, stock axles, it's insane. Go back, watch my videos, look at everything that I've done. They will hold up if you know what you're doing. If you know how to regulate the throttle and really know when you can feel when it's gonna shift gears on daily driving, off-road, and you're not just like bouncing off rocks, you're gonna be fine. Anyway, moving on, we got, like I said, the 37s, Cooper. These are 17-inch JKU wheels. So we have the same bolt pattern as a JKU, I believe JL as well, and maybe even Jeep truck. Don't quote me on that, but for sure the JKU. So I love running these wheels, especially with this color, this metallic silver gray. It goes really good with these factory wheels. I love the look of it. They are skinnier. I think they're maybe 8-inch, 8.5-inch wide. And these are 12.5-inch true wide 37s. I've run them down to 10 PSI on these, no problem. So I usually run though like probably 15, 16 when I hit the trails. Got plenty of tire. All right, so moving along down the side of the Jeep, I have these rock sliders, and I actually built these a long time ago when I first got the Jeep. This is 1.5-inch square tubing, I believe. I got a couple custom cuts on there, and I really like the style. I like how they flow with the Jeep. This is a 1-on-1 set, so I'm really happy with how that's turned out. They're very strong. They're welded into the unibody, so I'm able to jack up here with my high lift in order to change out tires or put a spring in like the old days. Don't have to do that anymore. Moving on, next we have this fender. So these factory Grand Cherokees, that'd probably be the biggest flaw with them as far as building them, is getting the fenders up higher for more clearance if you're going to run bigger tires. If you're running 33s or 35s, you're pretty good, and you can always go higher, but ideally you stay as low as possible so they can tuck them into the body, keep your center of gravity low. So this was custom by me. I ended up cutting pretty much all of this out. This fender probably used to be about here. So what a lot of people do, because it usually sticks out maybe an inch from here. So this is all foldable. Usually it's folded in, and then they come up to here, and this comes down flat along here. So usually people will just kind of roll it into there, which gives you enough clearance for sure. It just doesn't match the front when you cut the fender like I do. I didn't like how it looked proportionately, because it was going to be lower than the front fender was, and I wanted it to be the same and look correct. So this is all brand new sheet metal, stitch welded in here, and then I've got sheet metal all through here. I am not finished with this. As you can see, the paint is off. I used some Walmart paint that it looks close on the sliders, not close on the body, so this will all be redone. I'm going to bring this out further for a little bit more tire clearance, even though I'm not rubbing now, in case I go bigger, maybe some 39s. And then I'm going to fix this door little notch right here. This is kind of a weird spot whenever I was working on it, so we're going to go ahead and make that a nice smooth curve. The other side has been started and not finished to this level, so we'll be working on that driver's side first, getting that dialed, and then we'll come back and redo this one. But I want it to be a very, very clean looking, factory looking fender. So the 37 looks amazing in there, and it's gonna look a little bit better once I get that curved out. So that's on the list for sure. It definitely has made the build unique though, and I'm happy that I did it. So I've got plenty of clearance for now, and we're gonna be changing that, making it even better and perfect. Next up, we have the detail fab bumper, which this is a new addition for my Jeep. I was working on one, took a long time, and I didn't really work on it, so I just scrapped that and went ahead and got a nice bumper that actually looks amazing. Of course, detail fab. I can't complain about anything. Obviously, you can see the quality of this. I might run in here and add a couple welds, which obviously won't compare. Maybe on the backside to hide it, but just to fully weld this thing, it is bolted. It's got modular sides on it you can take off and on. I do have my 37 mounted up here, so it's got an easy latch. You just push and pull. 37, very stable. And then whenever you have it closed, there's no shake. So this is a very heavy tire. I think he says it's rated for up to 37. He's had 40s on it before, but you're not gonna have a problem with that. So this looks amazing. Got my clearance up a lot higher. We will be doing a tank tuck, so that will be next, because my old bumper was sitting like here and it had the hitch and it kind of hid all this. On these WJs, you can do a tank tuck because there is a spare tire carrier compartment underneath the trunk. So there's a nice big place where you put your tire, and we will basically raise the gas tank into that spot to get rid of this low hanging gas tank. It does have a skid on it. You're not gonna hit it on anything where I go, especially on 37s. But it'll be cool to see, a nice clean back end on this thing with the 37s. I did also get these taillights recently. Like I said, WJ went through a tornado. Our house got destroyed completely. This thing got banged up like crazy. This window was blown out. I replaced that myself. $50 on eBay, you can pick up a window for WJ. Don't try to pull it. Dylan did that. There's no way I'm gonna go pull a window to then put it in. So $50 gets you a window. I just broke it out and didn't even mess with any of the trim inside. Put some glue on it, slapped it in. I've got no leaks, good to go. Taillights were busted out from sticks flying in it or whatever. Got some new taillights. These are linked on my Amazon down below. I like the nice clean look. Looks like a factory look, which is really my whole style on this. And going back to that, I think I might even plate this all along here just because I have the stock bumper still on the front. It is very trimmed, but I really like that stock look. And so I think having this plated will make it match a little bit better. I think it looks amazing. And it probably won't come soon, but sometime this year, I think plating this would be a better match for what I'm going on here. So, and then the other big thing is the tent that I used to have is no longer there. Tornado yanked it right off. I think it flew it 100 yards to the school. We found it in the street the morning of when we were trying to get out of the neighborhood. I had that tent on there for, I think it had to be at least 2 years, maybe 3 years. And it was a Bigfoot tent, very heavy tent, 140, 150 pounds. I was using factory crossbars, which they said you can't do. And I drove out west, crazy winds, headwinds. Yes, you could see it flapping through the sunroof, a little sketchy, but it never flew off until the tornado. So you can use factory rack. I have a short video on how I mounted that, and I think it looks really clean. It keeps it nice and low, and you don't have all that crazy metal up there. So I did pick up recently a new tent for the Jeep, and I got it used. It's an Inspired Overland. It's the clamshell canvas tent. It's only like 78 pounds, so it's gonna be almost half the weight, which is crazy. We won't have as much weight up top. It was always kind of leany, which I really don't like the off-camber stuff, and especially when there's no trees to catch your fall, like in Moab. That was a little sketch, but I'm gonna mount it as low as I can. My goal is to get it basically flush right here in the middle. We got a little bit of a curve going on, so I'm gonna do a strip of flat bar and then do a little kicker here, kicker in the front, and get it as low as possible. And I just want a nice clean look for that. So then all the other things that I've done to this would be underneath, and we have the stock trans. Can't remember what it is now. It's just the stock trans that comes in the 4.7 V8, and I have that linked up to a 242. So the thing with these WJs is that this limited trim, I think the overland trim, it might just be those two, come with all-time four-wheel drive. You can't put it in two-wheel drive, and that is a 247 transfer case, I believe, that it used to have. I ended up picking up a 242 transfer case so I could get two-wheel drive. I drive on the street of two-wheel drive, and it gives you a lot more options. It's called the Select Track 242. It comes in, I believe, the lower trims. So I swapped that in. Moving back to the front of the Jeep, you can see this amazing HK off-road hidden winch bumper. I do have I think it's 12,000 pound winch in here, which is an open rotor winch, and it has worked really good. I think there's some problems with the wiring right now from the tornado. I had a couple sticks through my radiator. I think it might have chipped one of the wires, so it isn't working now, but before the tornado, everything worked amazing. I've got no complaints, a very budget-friendly winch. Open road, you get a wireless remote, a couple wireless remotes, and it's stuffed in here in the factory bumper of the WJ with the HK hidden winch bumper. Amazing design. And no one would even know there's a winch in there if you didn't have this sticking out. So next up we have Trail Forge steering. I believe it's a 1-ton similar steering. It's been a long time since I installed that. It's over the knuckle, so it does raise it up higher for better clearance. You're not under the knuckle like a factory setup. Even the powder coat on it has not even chipped or anything like that. So this has been a great system for me, and I definitely recommend Trail Forge for your steering. We do have some blacked out lights. These are kind of budget friendly on Amazon. I do have windshield tint, so we're at 35% on the windshield. Do that on all my cars. I just love having basically sunglasses on without having sunglasses on nonstop when I'm driving. It also looks amazing, of course. And then as far as under the hood, I've had some coil packs go out over the years, so I've changed those out. And then we also have a redhead steering box. I was having problems with my steering box before. I can't remember exactly what happened with it, but it was a factory steering box. So I upgraded it to the redhead, and I got the port on it for hydro assist. So it's always ready for hydro assist if I throw on 1 tons, or if I put on probably 1 tons, put hydro on it. That's another thing with having stock axles is knowing your steering. You know, if I had a hydro assist on it, it would let me power through, and you'd probably break a lot more stuff. Right now, if you get bound up, it's not going to let you turn unless you back up a little bit or go forward a little bit, you wiggle it. So there is, you know, some safety features of not having a hydro or not overbuilding your stock axles so that you're not powering through those limitation points, which I think has really helped create a very reliable stock axle setup for me. Now, I don't have trusses on either the front or the back. Everything that I have done has not needed it so far. So that about wraps up the WJ walk around. Like I said, it's 2003 Jeep Grand Cherokee 4.7 V8 on 37s, 8-inch coils, Bilstein shocks, 17-inch wheels. We have the Iron Rock off-road 4-link long arms front and rear, detail back bumper. We've got a couple lights. We have the 242 transfer case. We have additionally some new drive shafts and a couple other small things, but overall it's a very budget friendly build that is very highly capable, and it's been a blast. I think this is one of the best bang for your buck builds that you can do, while also being unique. You're not going to see another one of these anywhere where I live, at least, you know, to this spec. It's been a great build. Make sure you check out the links below if you're interested in any of these parts. Make sure you subscribe to see more. Like I said, we have, it's good, but we're gonna make it perfect. And then I also have a 1998 ZJ, so the generation before this. It has a 5.9 V8. It's the 1 year only big engine stock Grand Cherokee. I've got it on 35s right now with long arms, and it's gonna be going to the trails soon. So make sure you subscribe, check that out, and I'll see you in the next one.